My name is Samuel, and for 2 years I lived beneath a house. If you had walked down our street in the summer of 1943, you would have seen nothing unusual. Children no longer played outside, of course. The war had changed that. But the houses still stood. The curtains still hung in the windows, and people still pretended life was normal. What nobody could see was that beneath one of those houses, hidden in a space no taller than a child, I was waiting in darkness. I was 14 years old when I went underground. Before the war, my life was simple. I lived with my parents and my younger sister in a small town in Poland. My father owned a tailor shop, and my mother spent her days caring for our home. We were not rich, but we had enough. I went to school, played with friends, and dreamed about becoming a teacher someday. Then the Germans came. At first, there were new rules. Jews could no longer go to certain places. Then more rules followed. We lost our jobs. We lost our rights. We lost our freedom. Soon we were forced into a crowded ghetto surrounded by walls and guards. Families were packed into tiny rooms. Food became scarce. Disease spread quickly. Every day brought new rumors and new fears. People disappeared. One morning, a neighbor was gone. The next week, another family vanished. Nobody knew exactly where they were being taken, but everyone understood that something terrible was happening. My father tried to protect us from the truth. He told us that the war would end soon. He said we only needed to stay strong a little longer. I wanted to believe him. Then came the deportations. German soldiers entered the ghetto before sunrise. Their boots echoed through the streets as they forced families from their homes. People were pushed into long lines and marched away. My father returned home that day with fear in his eyes, unlike anything I had ever seen before. "We have to leave," he whispered. That night, we escaped through a hole in a damaged section of the wall. For hours, we moved through fields and forests, avoiding roads and hiding whenever we heard vehicles nearby. After 2 days, we reached a small farm owned by a man named Jan. My father had once repaired a suit for him years earlier. Jan knew the risks. Anyone caught helping Jews could be executed. Yet he listened quietly as my father begged for help. Finally, he nodded. "You can stay for one night," he said. One night became 1 week. 1 week became 1 month. But hiding inside the farmhouse was becoming too dangerous. German patrols regularly searched homes in the area. Every unexpected knock at the door could mean death. One evening, Jan led us behind a storage shed. He pulled away a stack of wooden boards and revealed a narrow opening in the ground. Beneath the house was a hidden crawl space originally used for storage many years earlier. It was dark, cold, and barely large enough to sit upright. That night, we climbed inside. I thought we would stay there for a few days. Instead, I would spend the next 2 years underground. The first weeks were unbearable. There was almost no natural light. The air felt heavy. The dirt floor was always damp. Every sound from above echoed through the wooden beams. We learned to remain silent. Not quiet, silent. Food was scarce. Hunger became part of everyday life. Winter brought freezing temperatures. Summer brought suffocating heat. Months turned into years. Then, one afternoon, everything nearly ended. German soldiers arrived at the farm. We heard barking dogs, shouting voices, and heavy boots above our heads. A soldier stood directly above the place where we were hiding. I held my breath. Nobody moved. Nobody made a sound. Eventually, the soldiers left. By early 1945, rumors began reaching us. The Germans were retreating. The war was changing. Then one morning, Jan opened the entrance and climbed down. "The war is over," he said. For a moment, none of us could speak. After 2 years underground, we climbed out into the sunlight. The light hurt my eyes. But I had never seen anything more beautiful. Many of the people we once knew were gone. Entire families had disappeared. The world we remembered no longer existed. Yet we were alive. Years later, people asked how we survived. The answer was simple. One man chose compassion over fear. History often remembers generals, politicians, and battles. But sometimes the fate of a family depends on a single, ordinary person making an extraordinary choice. I spent 2 years beneath a house. 2 years in darkness. 2 years waiting for a future I could not see. And because one man chose humanity, I live to tell this story.